Anime, Dead Mount Death Play. Continuing to episode 9, Iwa and Eris are currently inside Polka's residence building. Iwa instructs them not to be wary of their presence. Karuya is still hiding in fear under his computer desk. Although they still want to interrogate Polka about yesterday's arson case, Iwa came because he wanted to be fortune told by Polka. He came for personal reasons, taking advantage of the police station's break time. As for Eris, he is only accompanying Iwa as he is not particularly interested in fortune telling. Polka agrees to give him a reading. Iwa is asked to go to the adjacent room to be fortune told. Iwa is quite impressed that someone Polka's age has decided to become a fortune teller. Nevertheless, Iwa reminds Polka that he must apply for a permanent business permit within 1 month. Regardless, Iwa still insists on being fortune told. Polka says she won't predict the whereabouts of the fugitives they let escape. Iwa offers Polka a partnership if she can predict and prevent murder cases. However, Polka's fortune telling is not about predicting the future. She simply observes the paths of the future, the paths that have been traveled and the countless paths yet to come. Xiao Yu and Sayo are also present in the room, watching. Xiao Yu seems a bit suspicious that Eris and Iwa are police officers. Polka begins her fortune telling. She says that she sees many hands around Iwa. In order to protect the peace of the people, Iwa gives warnings and orders. Sometimes he becomes a shield to protect the people from threats. Iwa is still not very impressed with Polka's words. He already knows that Polka has information about him working as a police officer in the Public Security Division. He is also certain that Karuya must have helped gather information and provided it to Polka. In fact, Iwa is somewhat surprised when he learns about his blind date issue. Polka continues by saying that in Iwa's past, there is a very large scar. A scar that broke his wings. As long as the wound continues to weigh on his heart, Iwa can only walk underwater. Iwa is quite intrigued by the words spoken by that person. He wonders if Polka will reveal how to remove the wound. Polka responds that it all depends on the person, whether they want to heal their wound or not. Iwa himself is not sure. However, if there is an opportunity to lead him to the person who inflicted the wound, Iwa will not refuse. Polka informs him that his shattered wings will guide him. And suddenly, Iwa is startled when a pencil starts moving on its own. Sayo and Xiao Yu are also quite impressed when they see it. Xiao Yu realizes that the sound of the self-writing pencil is exactly the same as the one she heard when eavesdropping on Polka. Xiao Yu assumes that Polka continues to practice at night while playing games. When the pencil finishes writing something, Iwa angrily grabs Polka's collar. He asks what Polka actually knows. Iwa recalls his past. He was talking to his colleague, who showed him a symbol written on a piece of paper. The colleague instructed Iwa to always remember it and then immediately burn the paper. He warned Iwa not to tell anyone about the symbol. According to him, the symbol is a guide they want to find, as well as a one-way ticket to death. Returning to the present, Iwa wonders how Polka can draw that symbol. Polka replies that she only shows him the way. It's up to his heart whether to act or not. Iwa begins to calm down and apologizes to Polka. He pays Polka a significant amount of money, including compensation for tearing Polka's clothes. Iwa and Eris then bid farewell to Polka. Polka emphasizes that the one who foretold him here is Corpse God, not Shinoyama Polka. Although she is indeed Corpse God, the nickname can also be used to stand out as a fortune teller. Sayo asks if Polka knows the two individuals. Misaki explains that they are police officers. Xiao Yu wonders why Iwa reacted that way upon seeing the paper from Polka. She becomes curious about what was written on the paper. Xiao Yu has a hunch that it is related to the fake Polka. She wants to investigate it. After that, Xiao Yu takes her leave to buy ingredients for dinner. And with conviction, Sayo asks if Xiao Yu can also buy shark merchandise. After leaving Polka's place, Iwa and Eris are currently eating at a curry restaurant. As usual, Iwa shows expressions of delight while eating there. They continue eating without talking at all. Iwa starts feeling awkward and asks Eris not to hesitate if there's anything he wants to ask. Responding to his words, Eris asks why Iwa got angry earlier. Usually, it's Arassi's role to threaten. He honestly asks what was written on the paper. However, Iwa asks for some time to think while they walk. He will only reveal it at their destination. Meanwhile, Xiao Yu, who has bought the food ingredients and shark merchandise, trails Iwa and Eris from a distance. On the same day, there is a fire in another building. The owner of the building was initially happy because Shinoyama's residence caught fire, but he didn't expect his building to catch fire as well. His subordinate asks why he wanted to open a fireproof gold safe. The building owner reveals that he had a rolled-up paper that he must take out no matter what. The rolled-up paper must not be seen by the police or firefighters. Suddenly, his subordinate speaks with a slightly different voice. When observed, the subordinate is holding a black umbrella, just like the fire-breathing bug. The building owner also ends up being engulfed in the fire. However, unexpectedly, Phantom Solitaire is also in the room. He takes the rolled-up paper lying near the building owner. The paper doesn't seem to be made of animal skin. He suspects it is made of human skin. When opened, the paper contains a symbol, precisely the same symbol that Iwa saw from his colleague before. Kuruya finally feels relieved because the two police officers have left. However, Kuruya is also curious why Iwa got angry at Polka. What did Polka ask the spirit that was following Iwa? Polka answers that Iwa is not followed by any spirits. At that time, Polka only relied on the information provided by Kuruya to give advice. Meanwhile, Iwa and Eris are currently at the Clarissa bar. Xiao Yu is eavesdropping on them from the ventilation shaft. Iwa asks why Clarissa is hiding it from him. After all, that person, his colleague, couldn't have died easily. His colleague has been missing for 5 years in this city. Only Clarissa's group could do this. The symbol drawn by Polka should only be known by Iwa and his colleague. If his colleague mentioned it to someone else besides him, Iwa is convinced that Clarissa is involved. Clarissa has been pretending not to know what Iwa is talking about all this time. Going back to Polka, actually, the one who wrote on the paper was Hozorogi himself, not Polka. Polka doesn't even know what was written or drawn on the paper. The lighting was too dark for him to see. Iwa clarifies the identity of that person to Clarissa, who pretends not to know. That person is a police inspector who often argues with Iwa. That person is also an important senior to Clarissa. That person is Hozorogi. Iwa actually doesn't like to see a child like Polka getting involved in such a complicated matter. Clarissa says she never involved Polka in this matter. She only intended to lend the building to Polka. Iwa warns again not to incite Polka to get involved in Hozorogi's issue. If Polka and his friends start investigating this matter, they will be in danger. This case even made Hozorogi hide his whereabouts. Iwa sounds confident that Hozorogi is still alive today, even though he died 5 years ago in Clarissa's building. Xiao Yu can't stay silent after hearing the conversation. She wants to conduct further investigation. Meanwhile, Hozorogi reveals to Polka and his friends that he is a police inspector. Polka asks again what Hozorogi wrote on the paper. However, Hozorogi says they have to pay a fee of 1 million yen for that information. Nevertheless, Hozorogi apologizes for involving them in his troubling matter. If that's the case, Polka must help him. As payment for entering the pencil, Polka promises to resolve Hozorogi's lingering regret. In his heart, the spirit of Hozorogi feels that he must meet Lisa sooner or later if he wants to resolve his regret. On the other hand, Phantom Solitaire visits the seller in prison to buy information about the symbol on the paper he obtained. The services provided by the seller originally started with the merchant 100 years ago, and the seller is said to be the 5th descendant of that merchant. The seller's information is so valuable that he made a deal with the government to be placed in a solitary prison where he can still carry out his services. Therefore, the seller requests an equivalent amount of information in return if they want to buy information about the symbol. Unfortunately, Phantom Solitaire can only provide relatively unimportant information like how to count money without injuring fingers. Nevertheless, the seller offers cheap snacks in exchange for the information. Phantom Solitaire insists on obtaining the information. The seller gives him a free trial. He says that the lines on a symbol in this world usually describe something. For example, the diagonal line on the symbol on the paper carried by Phantom Solitaire could describe a sword. The seller only provides a free trial up to that point. He has to receive equivalent information or objects if he wants to get more information. Phantom Solitaire agrees to buy it for the sake of his performance. The seller's services will determine the price based on the money held by the customer. However, the money referred to is not the contents of a wallet. Several days later, Phantom Solitaire finally starts his performance as promised. Polka and his friends see something outside the building. Upon closer inspection, they realize that there are many airships flying in Shinjuku City. And on each airship, there is a symbol drawn by Hozorogi. Previously, Polka hadn't seen the symbol drawn by Hozorogi. However, he immediately recognizes it when he sees it. It is the symbol of a country that has been destroyed in his original world. This is the end of episode 9. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss part 10 of this series recap.